All right, what is up, everybody? We are back.
You can't do that. What's going on?
This is the Couch Sports Talk podcast. I am your boy, Goozy, here with Philanthropist, and here with Young. How are you guys doing? It's been a while.
It has been a while, man. I'm doing great. We just watched in my opinion, top 5 basketball game of the last 2 decades. So I'm really happy. I'm really juiced. Really happy to have another game on Sunday and to keep this great series going.
All right, I like that. What about you, Youngie? How you feeling?
I've been good. I liked the basketball game. It was enjoyable to watch. Been watching some okay football. I wouldn't say I've seen anything amazing, but some okay football. But yeah, it's been good so far. I'm happy.
Can't do that.
That guy's making me mad.
Before we get into the NBA Finals, Ethan, can you give me a 1 out of 10 for MLB playoffs so far?
2.
A 2.
And
can you elaborate?
Here's going to be the number one thing that's taking it, like, I'm going to say negative 6 points, is that the Astros are still in it and there's only 4 teams left. Like, that shit's going to piss me off. Yeah. And then, honestly, I've been so out of it, man, because the Diamondbacks were eliminated and there really wasn't very many underdog teams this year. I know we got the Rays in there. I'm happy about that. They give it the 2 right there. That's the 2. But Astros -6, fucking Dodgers -4. I hate that shit. The Braves are a cool young team, but I don't think they can compete with the Dodgers. So I'm gonna just be mad as fuck if it's Dodgers and Astros again. Like,
I really hope.
What about the Kershaw revenge story, bro?
I don't give a fuck about the fucking cheaters if it's the fucking Dodgers.
I will be mad if the Astros become like the Patriots, where they'll just get caught cheating and just keep going and winning. That should be bad.
I have a question for both of you. What is the worst example of cheating between the Astros and anything the Patriots have done, whether that's Deflategate or Spygate? Rank those for me.
I mean, as a baseball guy, bro, I'm just going to say what the Astros did, like, actually played a huge difference in the game. And, like, when you look, like, people have compared this year's, and I know this was a shorter season, but this year's stats compared to those stats, it's substantially different. And it's beyond age because a lot of their guys are young. And that was their first 1-2 years of their career. So it can't be that.
Right.
You know, the numbers have significantly declined. What I think has benefited this year is they were under 500 at the end of the season and skated in as like the 6-7 seed because there were so many fucking teams in the playoffs. And because they're so experienced in the playoffs, they're going to run through the teams like the A's. So
you always fuck up in the fucking playoffs.
I mean, that shit pisses me off. Definitely that. And then I would say probably the spying on the practices, Spygate, that was really bad. And then I would say Bountygate, and then I would say Deflategate.
Okay.
Probably in that order.
The thing is, though, is I don't know if the NFL's ever fully disclosed how much of the cheating the Patriots have done, and I don't even know if they've caught all of the times that they have done it.
Right.
And so it's kind of hard to gauge it, whereas with the Astros, you know, it's been pretty much proven that throughout their seasons, you know, they were doing it, and even in the World Series. So you can see direct results of the cheating, whereas with the Patriots, right, maybe the only one that they got caught, like, in-game helping them was Deflategate, and even then, it's debatable on how much that would actually help them, right?
Right. Yeah, I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but the Astros, weren't they batting the years they were cheating? Weren't they batting as if they were like the greatest team of all time with their batting numbers?
Yeah, top to bottom, 1 through 9.
My God.
Only at home. Only at home.
Yeah.
Yeah, then on the road it was completely different. Oh, that's crazy. That's
I do want to
horrible.
say something, though. One thing I forgot that I probably should have mentioned, and actually, when I rethink about it, it would move up to number 1 on my list, and everything else would move down 1. Steroids. That shit was really bad.
Yeah.
I mean,
that's
everyone
true.
was doing it. everyone was doing it, but that shit was really bad.
Yeah, I mean, that's a good point.
If everybody's doing it, I'm not tripping. But where like I start tripping is when, when A-Rod was maybe doing it. Because at that point, right, not everybody was doing it. So that's where it makes me mad. Because A-Rod, he didn't need to be doing that shit. He was hitting dingers no matter what.
Should Barry Bonds be in the Hall of Fame?
Yes, no question. I don't give a fuck about the steroids. Beyond that, exactly. It was steroids or not. It was one of the best things that ever happened to baseball. So
now, will he get in?
No.
They're gonna blackball him. You think?
I'm sure they do. They've blackballed all the steroid guys.
Because if you let one in, you have to let all of them in, right?
I feel like
you have to go back and give Pete Rose and fucking. I don't think McGuire or Sosa are Hall of Famers because of the steroid scandal. So
A-Rod, you'd have to put him in.
I think A-Rod is a Hall of Famer.
I think.
Why did he make it but not Bonds?
I think what will happen though is one of those people that have done it will die. And then they'll be like, oh, like when we're trying to remember them, maybe we'll put them in the Hall of Fame, and then that's when we'll start putting them in there.
I mean, I'm gonna just be real though. The MLB as a whole and kind of just baseball's culture is really fucking ass, and I've really fallen out of love with the sport the past year and a half. I went from watching the Diamondbacks every day to. I mean, also they were fucking shit this year, but the whole culture around baseball is just so shitty right now. And especially when there's other sports on, the last thing I'm going to be watching is baseball because it's not fucking entertaining anymore. They've made it so the game's not entertaining.
Yeah, it's a shame.
I used to be fucking diehard Ace fan. Me and our boy Eddie, we used to go all the time to the games, and I used to know all the players, and it's become slow. I know they've tried to make it a little bit faster, but just it's not fun anymore. And then you get people throwing hands because there's bat flipping, and people getting excited when they strike someone out. They're throwing hands over that, and I just can't take it. But like, it's not exciting at all. And like Young E said, when there's other shit going on, I mean, if I'm at Young E's place and there's NHL, I'd prefer we watch that than fucking baseball, to be honest with you.
Right.
It's entertaining.
So that's good, though. We got a little bit of baseball talk in there. I know we don't do very often. As the playoffs go on, we'll try to continue that because although it is ass, we should still touch on it because this is the Sports Talk show. The couch. Sports Talk. Okay. Anyways. We had just one of the most fascinating, entertaining, big storyline games that we've seen in NBA Finals in a while. A lot of people were really counting out the Heat, including myself. I thought this series would be over in 5, and at multiple parts in this game, it could have been over in 5. But the Heat gave it everything they had. They threw in 110, 150, 300%, everything they had. Jimmy looked like he was about to fucking collapse at the end of the game. And then LeBron, I swear, and it's not really a knock against him because it's not really his fault, but I swear in the finals, he's had like the most big stat lines with like the most losses. Like this dude will put up 45 trip dub and still lose. So he still had a very, very good game. AD looked a little hobbled, but he still ended up, putting up a good stat line. Philanthropist, what is your biggest takeaway from this game? And should the Lakers be worried at all about a potential comeback from the Heat?
Well, my biggest takeaway from this game is that I said this to you guys in the group chat. Jimmy Butler is borderline a top 5 player, and he's just shown that again and again this playoffs. I mean, LeBron, we all know he's a top 2 player of all time. You can argue Jordan, you can argue LeBron. Bottom line, he's in that conversation, right? And he showed up tonight. He had 40 points, 13 rebounds, 7 assists, shot 75% from the field. That's ridiculous. That is ridiculous in a closeout game. And Jimmy was there the whole time with him, just going bucket for bucket the whole entire game. He ended up with a 35-point triple-double, just got those free throws at the end that put him over the edge. So really, with the Heat, they got this win. They gutted it out. But at the end of the day, they needed an all-time great performance from Jimmy Butler. And then they also got 27 from Duncan Robinson. in this game to get the W. And the Lakers, like you said, the Heat played 110%. I think the Lakers probably played 99, 98%. And that's just how it's going to have to be for the Heat to win another game against them. I think the sense of urgency is there from the Lakers. Like LeBron is playing, like today was a must win. This was not a slack performance at all. So I think it comes down to, Danny Green, you're a 3-point shooter. That's your role. You got to hit an open three from the top of the key. You have to do that. You can't do that. It really, it was a decent game from KCP, but Rondo, Caruso, Danny Green, they were all a bit off tonight. So I think Sunday, game 6, I think they're going to come back, probably get a little bit more out of the bench, and I think LeBron and AD will probably close it out. But you can never count out this Heat team. They're really gutsy. They play 100% or more every game. But I think we've seen from this series that Jimmy Butler doesn't really put these types of performances together in back-to-back games. He'll have one like he did in game 3, then he'll have one like he did tonight in game 5. But I have yet to see him do this twice in a row in a series, and he's going to have to for them to win, especially with Dragic out.
Yeah, they're going to have to put, you're going to have to put everything on the line. You're going to have to walk out of that motherfucking bubble in fucking wheelchairs if you're thinking
exactly
series. Young E, you have been one of the biggest Heat supporters throughout this entire playoffs. What are you liking from them? If you were able to watch the game 5 there a little bit, and do you believe that they can come back?
So I've been lucky enough to watch almost all the finals games from beginning to end, so that's been pretty nice. One thing I wanted to say, kind of in counter to Phil, with the back-to-backs, is I will say Jimmy did have a healthy AD on him for a good amount of game 4.
Yeah.
So I think that played a big role in him not putting up the numbers that he has in 3 and 5. And I've been saying it from the beginning. The Heat have that heart, man. Someone steps up every night, whether it's fucking Duncan Robinson with 27, Tyler Hero with 20 fucking points, Jay Crowder with 17. Like, it's the most random dudes on their fucking team, but they step up. And then I think, and I hate to say it because he used to be my favorite fucking player in basketball. And then this year I lost a lot of respect for him when he pulled the shit with the Grizzlies. But Iggy plays a big role in this because not even as a player, but as experience, and that he's played against LeBron in the finals for how many straight years?
Mm-hmm.
It's been, 5, 6? Like, that's ridiculous. That experience is invaluable, even if he doesn't fucking touch the floor.
Yeah.
So, I don't want to count this Heat team out yet. I think they're going to put up a fighting game 6, and we might get a game 7.
Yeah, no, definitely. But in my opinion, you're just not going to beat LeBron in a game 7, or for that matter, realistically, not in a game 6. I mean, Jimmy Butler has played out of his mind. Here's
my real worry for game 6, and I've been worried about this the whole series, is how much longer can AD go on that ankle. And when he hurt it tonight, it looked bad. And I know he got up and he played the rest of the game, but when he was playing the rest of the game, he looked 50-60%. And if they're getting that out of AD and those other bench guys don't step up, as it's going to take a performance out of Jimmy for the Heat to win, it's going to take a performance out of LeBron for the Lakers to win. And, I know in the long run, and history has proven, we're going to take LeBron in that matchup. But, I'm not going to count out his age, and this is going to be a tough run for him. I think Bam being back, too, plays a big role on the defense. Huge role on the defense.
Yeah. I was very impressed with I thought the energy from the Heat sometimes was just up and down. They did seem to be very tired. Just, they're going off of Jimmy's energy most of the time. He's really he's the energy drink for the team.
Right.
And I do want to give credit to Hero. He made some big free throws at the end of the game there. It's really big for, a 20-year-old to go up there in the finals and make shots like that. And I've always wondered, too, as this bubble's been going on, if those shots, I know you don't, it might be tough. It's obviously tough with the crowd, but how is it when it's dead silent? And so good on him for making that shot. Danny Green fucked it up at the end there. And Philanthropist told us before we started that LeBron even commented later after the game saying that Danny Green did in fact let him down. But I thought the Heat, they were coached well. They had some very good defensive plays there towards the end. I would like to see Bam get some more rebounds. There was some times where he seemed to be getting bullied by AD.
Mm-hmm.
But I think Game 6 is really going to come down to if AD's healthy or not. He was really limping, pretty bad. Like, there was some times where he wasn't even running down the court.
Mm-hmm.
And that really did affect the game. LeBron didn't have the safety net in the middle, when he's driving, or someone to push it out to who you can really trust. He's gained a lot of trust in KCP, but, other than that, he seems to think that some of the players let him down. What are you looking forward to in Game 6, Philanthropist?
My biggest adjustment, I think, or what I would do is Kuzma has to play less in the second half. Back we're live. My biggest adjustment for Game 6 for the Lakers, I think Kuzma needs to play less in the second half. You'll see if you watch Lakers games, like Kuzma obviously is very skilled. He can get you a bucket, but he has this reckless / careless energy about him sometimes where he'll just barrel into somebody for a foul, or he'll have a really careless turnover. And at this point, you just can't have those mistakes. I'd really rather have Danny Green out there because I know he can hit a three and he's not going to make the stupid mistakes, and he'll at least just stand around and be a neutral presence. So I think they need to reduce Kuzma's minutes. And honestly, I say just run it back. I mean, the Lakers had him this game. They really did. And it just came down to the fact that Jimmy Butler got those foul calls late and the Lakers missed an open shot. And I really don't think the Heat have it in them to replicate that performance again. They're capable of it. I'm just saying I don't think it's likely that that's going to happen. I think it's much more likely that LeBron goes for another 40 points because, as we saw tonight, when he wants to, he can get 40 still, even at this age. He'll just go inside and he'll get a few layups. He's one of the greatest players to ever play the game, and I'm not going to bet against him.
Poor Markieff.
Yeah.
What happened with that play?
I think really it was the right read. But it was a bad pass. It happens. It was a bad pass. It was way over AD's head. And then Bam, also huge credit to Bam, did a great job of sealing him off without fouling him. It was almost like a reverse box out where he had, his elbow on him and he just sealed him off and prevented him from backing up to get the ball. But, you could give it to AD or you could have swung it out to LeBron, who was on the wing wide open, but it happens. It's offensive rebound. You're already in a fortunate position just to get the ball. So it happens. You'll scrub it and you'll come back.
Youngie, I'll go with to you for this one first. What have you thought? It's been a big talking point of the finals and really the bubble in general. What have you thought of the refs and their performances this game?
I mean, it's just been I'm not as knowledgeable on fouls and stuff, but they seem pretty soft to me in almost every game I've watched. It's just been any sort of flop or I'm gonna tap you is gonna get called, and I understand a foul is a foul, but at the same time, the minimal stuff is the finals. Let them play a little bit.
Yeah, I agree. I will say one of the most entertaining aspects of the finals has been Van Gundy just completely obliterating the refs
all the time. Every fucking time.
Sometimes I will say it's not, deserved. The refs, they're getting sometimes a bad rap, but at the end of the day, I think it falls mostly on the NBA because they've allowed flopping to come back a little bit. And some of the fouls, man, it's hard for people to box out now. Dudes are out there boxing out, doing what they're supposed to do, playing fucking basketball, and they're getting called for fouls. Philanthropist, what do you have to say about the refs?
I want to first start by saying, NBA, can we please get a different officiating crew that's not Mark Jackson and Jeff Van Gundy? That would really, really be awesome. But anyway, the flopping, it's out of control.
Commentators or the...
Yes, the commentators. I mean, Mark Jackson, I cannot listen to it. Jeff Van Gundy, he gets way too much credit. He's so annoying, dude. He has a very clear agenda. Anybody who's ever wronged him or his brother, Stan Van Gundy, has his ire. So it doesn't matter. Dwight Howard's a perfect example because Dwight Howard played for Stan Van Gundy in Orlando. Dwight Howard could do something completely right, and Jeff Van Gundy's going to comment something about him doing something wrong. You know what I mean? He's very biased with his commentating. But anyway, that's a side note.
Hey,
the flopping,
Dwight and AD be fucking on the low.
You can't do that. What's going on?
I hope.
Yeah. The flopping is completely out of control. I mean, I think they just need to start finding people again really hard. When they started really taking money out of people's pockets, the flopping stopped. But like tonight, Duncan Robinson shot a 3 and Kuzma just was in his vicinity and Duncan Robinson just fell down and it was a 4-point play.
Stop. You're talking about when they met in the air. That was a foul.
That was not a foul, Jordan. I know you want the Lakers to lose very badly, but that was a foul. And that was not a foul.
You know that would have been called on the Lakers too, though. That's what I'm saying.
Well, the reason it was called is because Duncan Robinson fell down, so it looked like a foul, but there was no contact. And it happened to the Lakers too. The Lakers flop all the time. Everybody's flopping. Everybody in the league is flopping because they know it gets the call. And it's stupid. I mean, you don't have any – like the usual argument is that when the crowd sees something that's a flop, they'll react to it and they'll start cheering or booing. And the ref gets confused and they're like, oh, God, that must be a foul. You don't have that excuse anymore. You're in the bubble. You're looking just at the basketball being played. You have to make better decisions, and especially in playoffs, just make a no call. There's a beauty in no calls.
You think they hear the "hey" just a little bit better? You think that's
what
they did?
They definitely do. Those A's be hitting different. I'm not gonna lie.
I thought the worst flop of the game though was KCP. It didn't even look like. I think it was against. It might have been against Duncan Robinson.
I think it was. Yeah.
Moved his hand and didn't. I don't even think it touched his face. And
he got slapped, but it was a very, very late reaction from KCP. Like the slap definitely did not hurt.
It's getting out of hand though. I do agree. They need to stop that shit. And I think too that they need to make an emphasis with the refs. Like they need to emphasize that with the refs. They need to tell them, hey, like if you're not seeing this right, you know, maybe we'll take a fine from you too. Of course, don't fine them no tens and thousands of dollars because they don't make that much in comparison to an NBA player. But
right,
you know, maybe some punishment for them. I even think they should have started doing that for the NFL. It's hard though, right? Because we have all these super HD slow-mo cameras, and I do think the refs get too bad of a rap sometimes.
It affects real fouls too, because if you really do get fouled but you don't react as if you were flopping, it doesn't look like a real foul, so it won't get called. So it starts to really hurt the integrity of the game, and that's why I don't like it. Just play ball, man. Just play ball, please.
I agree. It's making me mad. I kind of wish they would just bring back shit like hand checking.
To a certain extent, yeah. I mean, there was a beauty in the ugliness of it, and it was ugly. Don't get me wrong, but yeah, maybe. I think we had talked to you about this, Jordan, but maybe if you allowed hand checking beyond the 3-point line and only beyond the 3-point line, you know, a lot of people say the 3-point revolution's gone a little too far. That's another way to, you know, kind of balance the odds a little bit more, bring a little more value to the mid range. So I don't know. We'll see. The rules committee is always looking for something to improve, so you never know.
If that was implemented beyond the 3-point line, LeBron wouldn't be able to do that fuck ass shit where he like spins the ball in his hand and just looks at it and then shoots it.
the ugliest move ever, bro.
He did that like a few times tonight, and I was getting mad.
And he hit him too.
It is good defense. It's very effective, but it's also very predictable. I just don't understand how effective it is. It's so crazy. All right. That was the NBA Finals, Game 5. We're going to be really excited to watch Game 6 on Sunday. We'll see if the Lakers come out with a healthy AD, if the Heat come out with the same energy. The Lakers, we also didn't say that they lost their first game in the Mamba jerseys. I was very surprised by that. But, you know, like we said, it took everything that the Heat had in order to win. I will say, I think this is going to be over in 6. Lakers will take it. Philanthropist Young E, you feel the same way?
Yeah, I think the Lakers are taking it in 6 or 7. It doesn't really matter to me. I just know that I don't think the Heat can escape this series with a win. All due respect, they're a great team, but I just don't think it's happening.
Young E, I know you want Game 7, Heat win, but realistically, what do you see?
I got Lakers in 7. I think AD is going to come out a little hobbled for Game 6 and it's going to play a factor like it did tonight. But then they will go ahead and move on and win it in Game 7. Backs against the wall.
One of you guys moving something?
Not I.
It might have been something that was on my desk.
Oh, good. Just sounded
My
like
bad,
something
my bad.
wobbled back and forth. All good. So let's go ahead and actually jump into our NFL game picks of the week. We are now it's week 5, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yes, week 5. Before we get into the picks, actually, since we haven't done a show in a while, Young E, I'm gonna go to you first with this, since Philanthropist really gave us that big brain basketball knowledge. I love it. There we go. Young E, what team has impressed you the most so far?
Are we going to go with impressed or surprised?
Well, I mean, if you're surprised, right, then that means you're impressed.
Not necessarily.
Unless it's a negative surprise, obviously.
All right, so I'll give both. The team I've been most impressed with is the Bills. Honestly, they look like a complete team. Josh Allen has played really well. I'm really impressed with them. Obviously, I don't have to say much about the Chiefs, that they're returning Super Bowl champions. But very impressed with the Bills. Also, I know they're 1-3, but a little bit with the Chargers too. They put up a good fight against the Chiefs, and Justin Herbert looks like the real deal. So I'm happy for them. Now, the one team that I actually wanted to talk a little bit more about was my surprise negative, and that would be the Atlanta Falcons. 0-4. I don't know why Dan Quinn is still fucking there. Like,
Can't do that.
I don't know in what world that I never thought that Bill O'Brien would get fired before Dan Quinn. Dan Quinn has needed out for like 3 seasons. I don't know what the Falcons are doing. It's time to get him out. Like, he's a defensive coach, and their defense has been bottom 10 for fucking 5 years. Like, that's terrible. Get him out. Let's get an offensive-minded young coach in there. Nice little college coach from like Baylor or one of them fucking schools. Get your Cliff Kingsbury or Thomas Rule or Matt Rule, or whoever the fuck you want. But you gotta get Dan Quinn out of there. It's terrible. 0-4, and it's all on him. All on him. None on the players.
Okay. Philanthropist, what about you? For teams you've been surprised with, you can do it, positively, negatively. I like that. Young E, thank you.
So a player that I've been positively surprised with is Josh Allen. He's obviously put up really good numbers, has the Bills in a really good spot. I've been very vocal about not believing in him, and I'm going to get ahead of this one. I think I'm going to have to fill out one of those Josh Allen apology forms that I see on Twitter, So he's been great. I can't nitpick anything that he's done, honestly. I mean, I haven't watched him very closely, like in the game, but his stat line and the Bills' record it speaks for itself, really. So kudos to you, Josh Allen. You still sucked at Wyoming, though. San Diego State used to beat that ass. Don't think I forgot that.
Let's go.
But yeah, a team that I'm negatively surprised with, and that I tried to tell you all about, I tried to tell both of you, is the Arizona Cardinals and their horrible coach, Cliff Kingsbury, who has now dropped 2 easily winnable games against inferior competition, and they're now 2-2, where they're now going to be at the bottom of the division. I tried to tell you that Cliff Kingsbury was going to fuck this up. Kyler Murray has been great. DeAndre Hopkins has been a revelation. Their roster is very solid, but they do not have a good coach. They have the worst coach in the division, and they're going to be last in the division because of it.
That's not saying much with the fucking division.
Yeah, that's not
like
really...
most NFL teams would have the worst coach in the division.
Okay, you can parse that how you want. I'm just telling you Cliff Kingsbury is below average. That's all I'm saying. Had a losing record at Texas Tech. He's going to have a losing record as the Arizona Cardinals head coach.
All right.
I do find that interesting when they don't really I feel like that number gets lost now just because they look at performance, and you look at Mahomes and then you're like, oh yeah, I got to hire his coach. But that dude was a loser in college. Let's be real. They lost a lot of games, and
I know
Texas Tech for a while was a powerhouse school and was getting a lot of commitments. So I mean, that kind of says a lot. But I'm not off the Cliff Kingsbury train. I think he's an average coach. I think the Cardinals will probably still go 9-7 or 10-6, just as we predicted before the season, and I think they'll probably make the playoffs. All 4 NFC West teams making the playoffs.
All right. I like that. I guess teams that I've been impressed with. First one is Raiders. I like the way that they've played offensively. They're young stars. Well, I guess you can't really call them stars yet, but they're young players that, they've drafted with those draft picks. They seem to be stepping up and making improvements every week. I like Abrams. Sometimes I watched a couple of the games. There's sometimes, where he's a little over aggressive, but he seems to be a great leader on that team. And then Josh Jacobs, of course, he's doing a great job.
He's a star.
Yeah.
He's a star, definitely. And I've been very surprised with Derek Carr. There's still some places he can grow upon, but he's becoming an above-average quarterback and on his way to becoming a good and potentially great, just depending on how they build this team. I've been a little I can't say disappointed because, it's only been a couple of games here, but with Ruggs, he had a really good first game, but he hasn't stepped up as much. And, it could just be a lack of opportunities. He is a rookie, but we'll see. Another team I've been surprised with and impressed with is, well, I guess I'm not surprised with them. I did pick them to make the wild card, and that's the Browns. Seems like they're finally putting it together, but it was against the Cowboys this last game where they put up a bunch of points, so take that with a grain of salt. And Young E will hate this, but a player that I have been surprised with, I won't say necessarily impressed, but surprised, and that's Big Ben. Okay. He is a enemy. He is a criminal on this show, and we do not support Big Ben and his activities.
Nope.
But he has come and played well, and he's on his way for potentially getting that comeback player of the year award.
Worst quarterback in the division.
Can I speak on this? Am I allowed to speak on this? All right. So I do want to say, Big Ben, as he always has been, puts up the stats and does what you need him to do. He can put up 300 yards, 300, 400 yards every game, 2 tubs and an interception, and it's enough to win you the game, but you got to have the rest of the team there to do it too. Mm-hmm. And then this year, they've definitely needed some fucking luck from the other side of the football. I mean, let's look. They beat total, the teams that they've played right now are 1-11 after last week. 1-11. So I'm taking that 3-0 with nothing. I don't think the Steelers are that good. I think they will probably balance out to a 9-7 team, but I think they'll miss the playoffs behind the Browns at this point. But I think they're off to a hot start because they played the Texans. They played I don't even remember what shit they played in week 1, but I know they played the Broncos and Drew Lock was hurt. Oh, okay. They played the Giants, and they played the Broncos, and Drew Lock got hurt, and they barely won that game with Jeff Driscoll in. And they had 15 fucking sacks, and they still barely won the game. So, I don't know. I guess I agree. I haven't been surprised. I kind of expected when Ben came back he was going to do his thing, but what will surprise me is if he plays more than 13 games. Then I will be surprised. I don't fucking care if he puts up only 2,000 yards and throws 40 picks. If he plays for 13 games, I'm going to be surprised.
Yeah, I agree. But if he does stay healthy, I think he has potential to win that Comeback Player of the Year award. And before we do get in the
Alex
picks,
Smith.
I want to say we'll see. We'll get there when we talk about the Washington football team. But Young E already mentioned it. We have to talk about it because he is a GOAT on this show. But one of the biggest non-surprises of the season, Bill O'Brien is gone as the coach. They have started the season 0-4 with a superstar like Deshaun Watson at quarterback after a horrible trade for trading away D-Hop and getting David Johnson, he's been decent. But a lot of people have been saying it's because of the GM moves, he made, and then on top of that, not performing very well. But I don't know if you guys really read into it or looked into it, but apparently J.J. Watt got into a huge fight with him, and it turned the entire team, and they had a player rebellion. So,
wow.
fuck,
Yeah.
it went out with a fucking bang. The only
Mm-hmm.
way that Bill O'Brien knows how to do it. So, you know,
I'm Michael Jordan. Stop it. Get some help.
he needs to get some help. And I'll be really interested to see if what team next will hire him. I don't even care at what capacity it is at. I want to see what they hire him as, and if he even gets a job. Because my God, he went out hard.
Yeah,
Just like Jeff Fisher, he needs to be retired from football. Not allowed back into the NFL. Not allowed back into college football. Not allowed back into high school football. That man should not even be allowed to coach Pee-wees, bro. Like it's done for Bill O'Brien.
That's
he
crazy.
He should completely cut off football and go after.
Can we talk about how he led the Texans to the playoffs with Brock Osweiler as his quarterback? How did that happen?
I was going to say, to be fair, I do think a majority of why he got fired was because the GM moves.
Yeah.
But I don't necessarily blame that on him. He should have never been in that position to begin with.
Yeah, that's ownership's fault.
So Texans got to figure it out. I'm very surprised Deshaun Watson signed that extension when he did.
He knew it was coming.
That could be true. But I think that also speaks to the way that the NFL does their free agency. It's just super hard for a player like Deshaun Watson to leave on, his own time because there's a franchise tag. So he's probably looking at a situation like Dak right now, right, where he doesn't want to be sitting in that limbo. So it is what it is. The GOAT, Bill O'Brien, is gone, and we'll be keeping an eye out where he goes next. Let's go ahead and jump into our game picks. First game that's on my Bleacher Report list here of the games of the week is the Bengals and Ravens. We'll jump right into it with you, Young E. Are you worried about another loss here for the Ravens? Or are you looking for Lamar Jackson to do what he does best and potentially give us another top 3 play, top 2, top 1 against the Bengals like he did last year?
It was number 2, by the way. Number 1 was against the Packers in the preseason. I am not worried about the Bengals at all. One thing that has worried me a little bit throughout the year is Lamar's performance. Because I watch the game so much, he has not performed all that well on a game to game. The thing is they don't really need him to right now. When they're going to need him to is when we get later into the season with division games. Right now when we're playing Washington football team and the Bengals, and we're going to see the Giants here soon. Those games don't matter. We could fucking throw Trace McSorley in and we're going to get some dubs. So I'm not worried fucking about this game at all. But one thing I did want to say with the Ravens, because I know we've been out for a couple weeks, someone I've been really impressed with this year and who is my early Defensive Player of the Year candidate, just signed a fat extension last week, Marlon Humphrey. Really solid. I think he has 4 or 5 turnovers already in the year, and he's got a couple recoveries. He's been playing really well, so love to see that. And he got them big bucks. 4 years, 98. Big bucks.
That ass. I was also going to ask you, what have you thought of Joe Burrow so far, and what numbers do you think he could potentially put up this Sunday?
I've been really impressed with Joe Burrow. I think this is going to be one of the tougher secondaries he's played so far. But I think, honestly, with the way the game's going, and I'm not sure if Joe Mixon's going to play. He's probably going to throw the ball 60, 70 times. So he's probably going to put up 300 or 400 yards. But I would say, best case scenario, TD to interception, I would say 2-2.
Ethan, please tell me you're off the Zach Taylor train now.
I mean, he hasn't been awful so far this year. I've seen some decent play calling out, but I am going to tell you, bro, if you've watched them at all, they have by far the worst offensive line in football. Their offensive line
That's
might
fair.
be borderline like Alabama level.
Burrow's getting killed.
It's that bad. I've never seen it. I don't know if I've ever seen an offensive line this bad in the NFL. So I think that very much limits what Zach Taylor can do. But I guess what I have been impressed with Zach Taylor is that he has been able to do the things that he's done with that shitty of an offensive line. And I also like that he's getting T. Higgins involved because AJ Green is obviously not good anymore, and he's not at all used to be.
Yeah, T. Higgins has been huge.
Sad for me.
Yeah.
I love AJ Green.
Philanthropist, what are you looking forward to in this game, and what is your score for the game going to be?
I think it's going to be a bounce back blowout win for the Ravens. I think it's time that, obviously RG3 is the 2, but with the rise of the new sensational TikTok star Trace McSorley, throw him in the game for a little bit. Give him a drive. So I think they're going to be driven to get that done. Having that offensive line against this Ravens team, especially with their secondary being that good, there's not going to be quick reads for Joe Burrow. So he's going to be running for his life and getting hit all night long, and he's going to be throwing 50 times. So I think the Ravens are going to handle this easily. I'm going to say 34-10 Ravens.
Young E, what's your score for it?
I had 37-17, and I'm scared for Burrow because there's a scary man on our defensive line that has hurt a lot of people before.
Okay.
That boy Calais. He's going to go kill him, bro. He's like, I did not know. Hey, I found this out this week. Random fact, like just in the middle of this, but Calais Campbell is 6'8".
Really?
Like 285, bro.
Oh,
I'm not trying to get hit by that.
Hell no.
Pause.
I also think this will be a blowout, but I do think Bengals will get like a touchdown late in garbage time to bring it close. I think it'll probably be like 31-20, something around there, and it'll be like Joe Burrow running for his life, throwing it off one leg, fucking across the field, one-handed catch, bullshit or something like that, maybe late. But yeah, I think it's gonna be blowout. I think Lamar Jackson, he's been getting a little bit too much hate. I think a lot of people questioning his arm too much.
Can we stop with that, please?
Yeah.
I think
so tired of it.
People just need to accept the fact he is elite. But I will say there are some times where he can definitely improve, but I think he's just young. People, are forgetting that they're not gonna, just because they're showing MVP caliber play. This even goes for Mahomes. They're still human. They're still young. They're gonna have games where they struggle. So I like the.
I got a little bit more on this subject too. We need to stop judging Lamar as if he doesn't play in a Greg Roman offense. I know Ethan's gonna get so mad at me. He's going to be a huge defender of Greg Roman's offense. You put Lamar with Andy Reid or with a passing-minded play caller, Lamar's putting up 350 a game, period. Okay, Greg Roman has a very specific offense. It's geared around mid-range, short passes, and running the ball. Okay, so when you say, why does Lamar only have 150 passing yards? That's in the scheme, all right? So just stop with the Lamar hate. It's ridiculous. He's a top 3 quarterback, arguably top 2. So I'm getting tired of it. The hate on Lamar is ridiculous.
Definitely. Seem we're all in agreement. The Bengals and Zach Taylor are ass, and they will get blown out in this game to Lamar Jackson and the Baltimore Ravens. We can go ahead and move on to our teams. Philanthropist, since we started out with Young E's team, we actually have both of our teams playing each other this week. And I'm going to be honest with you, I'm not expecting a dub out of this one for mine. So the Dolphins and the Niners will be playing each other this week. Fun fact, I said before we started it was 4 years ago I went and see the game, but I now remember Kaepernick was playing, so it had to have been 8 years ago since they only play every 4 years. So I think this game can be interesting for a little while just because of the injuries on the Niners side and the Dolphins. They're still a decent team, but unfortunately I think they're also banged up, and they're facing a really tough schedule to start the season. God damn, started with the Patriots, then the Bills, and then we obliterated the Jags, and then had to play the Seahawks, and now we're playing the fucking Niners. Like, unreal first 5 games. But at the end of the day, I still think this team fights hard. They play decent defense and well enough offense to keep it close. but the Niners are going to take the dub. Philanthropist, what are you looking forward to in this game? And, of course, what do you think the score is going to be?
Right. Well, I think this is a very winnable game for the Dolphins. But the bottom line for the Niners is that this is a must win for us. We play the Rams next week. And then after that game, we're into the toughest part of our schedule, which is weeks, 7 through 17. We're in this tough division. We dropped one against the Eagles that we really couldn't afford to lose. So I think we're going to come out with a sense of urgency. I think the Niners are going to put this away, maybe like a 10-point-ish game. Obviously, the biggest thing is Kittle coming back last week. He had a phenomenal game. He had 15 catches, 180 yards, and he was blocking like I don't even know, like the best left tackle of all time. So if he's going to come back, Jimmy G's going to come back. I think we're going to come out and put 25, or not 25, 27 plus points on the board. I think we're going to handle business, but the Dolphins are a really tough team, and they're not an easy beat by any means.
Almost had the Seahawks last week. I was very disappointed, but
that's very impressive.
Young E, what about you?
43 is back, baby. I'm excited to see Jimmy G back, honestly.
Mm-hmm.
And especially since their receivers have started to get healthy,
mm-hmm.
and Ayuk is starting to look like the real deal.
Yep.
I want to say with him, I feel like he's getting disrespected a lot because a lot of people refer to him as a little Deebo Samuel or something similar. I think we need to stop making that comparison. Because
Deebo is good too. So
no, Deebo is good too, but I want Ayuk to be his own player. Like we can't compare him to someone who, I'm not gonna be out here comparing guys, young guys in the NFL to non-top 20 players.
That's fair.
Unless they're really gonna fit that role player, especially with what I've seen from Ayuk, he looks like he has top 20 potential. I don't know if I've seen that from Deebo yet. Either way, they're getting healthy. Kittle is a top 2 player in the league.
And I like it.
I'm going to say him and Mahomes. And I'm going to say in no particular order. No particular order.
Wow.
So you can take that as you see it, but I know Kittle is all around like
I'm loving it.
So, I have Niners 27-23. Dolphins have been really good. But I think 43 coming back this week, that's the difference. If they have Mullins, I have Dolphins 27-23. If Tua goes in, it's Dolphins, though. They're taking that 30-27.
Yeah, I think it'll probably be around there. My score for the game will probably be about 24-14. Kittle monster, he's just unreal. And I'm actually cool with Tua not going in. The Dolphins left tackle, their first round pick, was just put on IR. We don't know for how long he'll be out with the way the IR is working this season. So we'll see. I'm cool with Fitzpatrick going in there and taking those fucking hits. I'm still mad that he is the second leading rusher on the team when we have Matt Breida and Jordan Howard, and they're not even second or leading. It's Myles Gaskin. And he's been doing cool. I've been surprised. But yeah, 24-14. It is what it is. I'm cool with the Dolphins losing. It's another season where I got to look forward to the draft. And with the Texans being 0-4 and them having their first and their second round picks, I'm looking forward to that.
That Tunsil trade is just ridiculous in hindsight.
And
oh my God.
What's it going to be if at the end of the year that's a top 4 pick? Because I'm really looking at the Texans at this point, and I think it's probably going to go Jets, Giants, and then after that,
could be anybody.
It really might be the Texans.
And it makes me mad about the Texans too, because I don't like to see great players like J.J. Watt get stuck in a situation like that.
Mm-hmm.
It really sucks.
I've read rumors he might be out this season with a new GM coming in, try to dump some cap space on those veteran players, and JJ would have some trade value.
My question for you, Ethan, I know you pay a lot more attention to the college game. Who takes Trevor Lawrence? Is he that good to where you have to take him number 1 regardless of who your quarterback is currently?
He likes it. The other boy,
Justin Fields.
No, I like Trey Lance, but he didn't look too good this week. But also, I watched that game and I was really unimpressed. And I saw a lot of people talking about his stocks going down. I did not realize until after that game that is the only game that North Dakota State is playing this fall.
Yep.
Oh.
They practiced for 2 weeks before they played one game, and they will not touch the field again until the spring.
Oh.
I thought that was dumb as fuck, but I guess you're gonna do what you're gonna do, North Dakota State.
Yeah.
And then that kind of took me back on Trey Lance. Like, I can't jump to conclusions off of that game because it was based off of a 2-week practice and it's a single game. So I'm still pretty high on him, but Trevor Lawrence, yes. But I'm also looking at who's going to be up there for those picks right now, like as we're looking at it through 4 weeks.
Right.
I think for sure Jets are going to have number 1 pick. Hopefully Gase is out of there. And I think Darnold, it's either this year or next year where that option comes up. It might be this year that
they'll trade him.
That team option comes up. So yeah, he might be out. Very much so when they get rid of Gase. So I could see that being an option for them. I don't think the Giants, unless Daniel Jones just fucking falls off a cliff the rest of the season, I don't see them going quarterback route with all the other needs that they have. Literally all the other needs that they have.
All over the fucking field.
Everywhere.
Fucking team. And then you look at the Texans. Texans obviously aren't going to get a quarterback, and that pick's going to the Dolphins. Dolphins obviously not going to go quarterback. So I think someone might get some value, and I think this is a good thing for a team like the Patriots or the Bears, exactly, where they're going to have a later first-round pick, but because of the youth of the quarterback position right now, I don't think there's going to be a lot of quarterbacks picked in that first 15. Like, it might really just be Lawrence, and then Fields and Lance go late first round.
Okay, so, I'm gonna put you on the spot, Ethan. Let's just say, by some grace of God, either the Texans or the Dolphins themselves luck into the number 1 pick. So the Dolphins are on the clock. They have to decide, do they go Trevor Lawrence or no?
I'd say yes for trade value, or you trade the pick.
Okay.
So you're sticking.
You
with
might
Tua.
straight up trade
that's
the
what
pick.
I'm saying. You're sticking with Tua.
Yeah, I'm not off to it. I mean, here's the thing. I'm not one to do the Cardinals, what the Cardinals did. I'm not going to go and get a first-round talent QB and then not really put a team around them, or in Tua's case, he hasn't even fucking played, and then be off of that QB after that year and go get another QB just because I have the number 1 pick. It's time. At that time, it's time to build the team, or it's time to build your draft surplus. And if you have, I mean, the Dolphins very well have a chance to have 2 top 10 picks. If that's the case, and it's a really heavy QB draft board, which I don't see it being, I would think to trade one of those picks and get something for later years.
Okay, I like that.
For me, I don't know. It's kind of, it would be very hard, because if Trevor Lawrence is really, the best prospect that there's been quarterback wise since potentially Andrew Luck, it's hard to pass on that. I know it's not nearly as close to being the same situation, but the Colts, they did have Peyton Manning, and I know he was coming back from surgery and all that, and it was very uncertain of how effective he was going to be, but they still had Peyton Manning on the roster, and they took it still. So it'll be very interesting. So let's go ahead, and since we're talking about high draft picks, the next game we're going to talk about is the Jets and the Cardinals. Adam fucking Gase.
Why do we have to talk about this game?
It'll be quick. The dude with the wandering eyes, right? Who I don't know if you guys seen this. Did you see before the fucking game he took the smelling salts and looked like he got fucking high?
Bro, that was crack.
He's got issues, bro. I hope he's
don't know. That was coke, bro.
Oh.
Bro, that was coke, bro. That's all I got to say. That was coke. The NFL knows it. We know it, but it's okay.
I agree with Ethan.
Young E, just make it a quick pick. Obviously, we're going to be going. I think all three of us are going to go with the Cardinals here. But what's your score for the game?
34-13.
Jesus.
Kyler's going for 280 in the air and 3 tubs, and then he's going for 120 on the ground with another tub.
Okay. I like that. Philanthropist, what about you?
I hope that this is the game that like buries Adam Gase. You know, when a coach gets fired in the season, you have to have like a really like a game where it's like, okay, we can't go forward with this. So I hope this is that game. I'm thinking like 35-3. Like, you know, the Jets don't even score. They get one pity field goal off a turnover or like off of a good kick return. They get one pity field goal and then that's it. Other than that, it's a shutout.
Wow.
I don't know about my pick. My prediction would be that high, that big of a blowout. You know, I'm thinking maybe more like 30-10, 30-17, around there. But if you look at the Jets schedule, this is, I think, one of the games that very few games that could be potentially winnable.
Mm-hmm.
So I would laugh my ass off, and I would actually really appreciate it because it might keep Gase around for another week. But if they win this game, I wouldn't they wouldn't be too surprised. And
yeah, it's winnable.
Love it. But I still do think this is the Cardinals game to take. And if they do lose this game, then I will start questioning my boy Cliff a little bit. We can go ahead and move on to the next game so we don't have to waste any more time on the pitiful Jets and their terrible injury-inducing field. Gosh, the Jets are just a mess. The next game here is the Eagles and the Steelers. Young E, you've talked about the Steelers a little bit. You know, you're saying they're undeserving of their record. What do you see them doing against a flustering up and down team like the Eagles here?
Well, I think the Eagles are coming off their first one of the season. They're in the driver's seat of the NFC East at 1-2-1. And also with that, I do want to say, I think honestly, looking at the Steelers' schedule, this is the hardest team they've played so far.
Yeah.
And that's even with how bad the Eagles have been. Like that's with that in consideration. I think this is going to be a really close game. I think it's going to come down to a field goal. But I think the Steelers' defense will prevail, and they will win this game 23-21.
Ooh, that close. I like that.
Yep, one field goal. End of the game field goal for the win. And it's going to be, and I hate to say it, but Big Ben's going to have the game-winning drive with like a minute 10.
Okay. That would be the thing that bothers me about the Eagles is they find a way to make every single game close.
Mm-hmm.
Doesn't matter who they're playing. It just makes me so mad. Philanthropist, where do you see this game going?
I think I'm not high on the Steelers, but I think the Steelers are going to win handily. The Eagles, I don't think they're good at all. I mean, the Niners just gift wrapped them that W last week. Like if Nick Mullins doesn't throw that pick six, I think we easily beat them with our formerly backup and now third string quarterback. And it was really just a horrible situation. We dropped that game. We should not have lost it. The Eagles suck. You know, anytime a team plays for a tie, that tells you a lot about the character of that team. And that's what they did. It was 4th down, 4th and short, and they punted in overtime with 2 minutes left to get the tie.
That tie has them first in the division.
I don't care. They're going to end up, you know, whatever
first
it is, 4
in the division.
They're going to end 4-11-1. So no.
And first in the division at 4-11-1.
No, I don't care. Somebody is gonna pull it out. Even if it's Washington football team, someone's gonna pull it out. But no, I'm not high on the Eagles. I don't think they're good. I'm concerned about Wentz.
Their score for the game?
I mean, like you said, I think they'll put up some type of a fight. So I'm gonna go 27-17 Steelers.
Okay.
I also on the Steelers, I like Deontay Johnson, the receiver. I think he's good.
Okay.
I think he's on the come up. So keep your eye out for him in fantasy.
Big playability.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Young E was telling me about that big plays. I think this will be close as well. I could see it being like 27-24, 28-24 around there. I actually think, though, that the Eagles are going to pull this one out. Like Young E says, the Steelers have been fortunate to play some really shit teams with some backup quarterbacks. I don't think Steelers are necessarily bad. I don't think they're as overrated as Young E states they are sometimes. But I think Wentz is going to will them to another win here. But I'm still not very high on the Eagles. I think this is just one of those games they're going to fucking scrap out and then still maintain a lead over the Cowboys for the division and just continue to make me mad every single week. But yeah, that's the Eagles and Steelers. As you can tell, we're not too excited about that game. I think it could be probably one of the sloppiest games of the week, maybe. Maybe quite a few turnovers there. We'll see. We could talk about this one real quick. I'm not too high about this game. Jaguars and Texans. As you know, we just talked about Bill O'Brien a whole bunch, the GOAT. I think this one, we could see a rejuvenated Texans team come out there with full of energy and show that Bill O'Brien was truly the GOAT that we all thought he was and was really tearing that team apart, holding them back. I think Deshaun Watson goes out there, throws like 3 to 4 tubs. J.J. Watt might want to go out there, get 3 sacks, maybe a little strip fumble there or something, take a quarterback's head off. Fuck it, why not? I could see this game being actually pretty close, though. Jaguars, they still got some magic with them, with my boy Minshew. But I think at the end of the day, it'll probably be like 31-24, 31-20, around there. Philanthropist, what do you think about this game?
Yeah, I agree. I think the Texans are going to have a little rebound game and, just pull out a W against a very beatable Jags team. I mean, say what you want about the Texans, but they have been in some very close games with some decent teams this year. Yeah. So I think they can handle the Jags easily. So I'm going to say 28-13.
Okay. Young E?
I agree with what you both said. One thing I will say with the Jags, though, that I've seen week to week, if DJ Chark is playing, they're going to put up points. He is on his way to being top 5 in the league, in my opinion.
Yeah.
He makes that much of a difference for the team. We saw that one week that he was out, they put up like 100 yards. And then he comes back and he gets 100 yards. So I have this game 34-24. But I do think Texans come out with some new energy. J.J. Watt's going to light him on fire. And I think actually for the first time this year, Brandon Cooks, Randall Cobb, Kenny Stills, that combination might actually fucking put up more than 20 yards in a week.
Okay. I'm just excited to see what the Texans are going to do. I think this could be potentially like a situation with I remember when the Dolphins had Joe Philbin. He was fired like week 4 or 5 as well, around there. And the next game, it actually was against the Texans. The Dolphins put up like 40-plus points because they were just so tired of his bullshit. So I could see that happening. But also, I'm going to stick with my prediction as 31-20. And the next game is a divisional matchup and should actually be a pretty interesting game in my opinion, and that is the Panthers and the Falcons. We have my boy Teddy, and then we have an up-and-coming GOAT here, Dan Quinn. He's been doing some GOAT numbers here and there. Just continues to surprise everybody every week. You think that he can't top what he did the week before and just continues to fucking do it. It's one of the greatest stretches that I've ever seen out of any coach. Young E, what are your predictions here for the Panthers and the Falcons?
Falcons defense fucking sucks. Actually, I don't think like the other games, I don't think they're going to lose this game in the fourth quarter. I think they're going to lose this game in the second quarter. I have this game kind of being a blowout, 34-17 Panthers. I think even without Christian McCaffrey, that's a decent offense. Teddy's looked good this year too, and I like that boy Matt Rule.
If that happens, like you just said, is that the nail in the coffin for Dan Quinn?
It has to be. If they lose this week, because this is by far their most winnable game of the year. If they lose this week, it's it. He can't be there anymore. He shouldn't be there now.
Yeah.
Philanthropist, what do you think about this week for the Falcons?
I'm picking the Panthers out of spite. I can't believe Dan Quinn. I can't believe he stayed and kept his job after the Bears game, the back-to-back blown leads game. How do you do that? How do you do that?
Sometimes when Big Richard Nick Foles comes in, bro, it's just what happens.
Like, I need the Panthers to win this game. I really do, because I need Matt Ryan and that extremely talented Falcons offense. I need them to be free of the pain of playing for Dan Quinn. And the Panthers are decent, as Ethan said. So I think they're going to handle biz. I think they're going to win. It'll probably be close because it always is. But, Mike Davis has been playing pretty well in Christian McCaffrey's absence. So I hope they get something going, and I trust Matt Rule to get this done.
What's your score for it?
Oh, Jesus. I hate doing this with the Falcons. I'm going to say 31-28.
Okay. Hey, it'll probably be 28-3, and then Panthers will win 31-28.
Yeah, exactly.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
I actually think that this one won't be close. I think the Falcons have seen what happened with Bill O'Brien, and they want the same thing to happen to Dan Quinn.
Mm-hmm.
So they'll go out there with zero energy and get the fucking cheeks fucked off of them. And I think Teddy's going to come out here and have a big game. And I am liking what Matt Rule's doing. I think this game could potentially be like 21-7 or something like that. I hate scores like when it's just 7, like really getting me field goals. But I think that's the energy the Falcons are going to put forward this week. This is a game that I'm probably not even going to pay attention to unless Dan Quinn gets fired after it. Then maybe I'll go back and watch it.
Hey, Atlanta is favorites. That's disrespectful.
Is it in Atlanta?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a little bit silly.
I'm not surprised because the thing is, this is why he should be fired, is because they should be winning. They should be good in these games. They have a good team.
Even their defense, like, it plays horribly, but don't they have like a decent roster on paper for their defense?
Not really anymore. They've
not
been
anymore.
So injured.
You still have an MVP caliber quarterback when he is in the right system with the right support. And then you still have Julio Jones and an up-and-coming star in Calvin Ridley. You need to be doing better than what
Todd Gurley too.
And Todd Gurley. I actually haven't seen too much of him. Has he been playing pretty good?
Yeah, he's been decent.
Okay. Yeah.
I like it. And
Fuck
this
that
is
game.
Yeah, fuck that game. Let's hope old boy Dan Quinn gets fired after this week. But I could also see this be a game where just like I lost my train of thought. Oh, just like Adam Gase, they could get the win and then just keep their job for another week. I could also see that happening, but
you were right.
I'll hope not. Next game is potentially a game of the week, one that I'm definitely going to be sitting down and watching, and that is the Raiders and the Chiefs. We have a team that I said was one of my biggest surprises, ones that I've been impressed with, and that is the Raiders with Derek Carr and some of their young players. And we have the Chiefs, who, of course, are undefeated, doing exactly what everybody thought they would do. And Mahomes just looks like he's on his way to maybe another MVP, maybe another Super Bowl MVP. Young E, how do you see this game going? And the thing is, too, is you got to take into account that the Raiders usually always play the Chiefs pretty well. It is a divisional game, and the Chargers did put up a good fight against the Chiefs. So how do you see this game going?
You took the words out of my mouth. I think the divisional game gives it a different feel, and I think the Chiefs have a tougher time in the division. I see this game going into overtime and being won by the Chiefs, 30-27.
Okay, I like that. That was very straight to the point and direct, Young E. I appreciate that analysis. Thank you. Philanthropist, what about you?
I actually have the Raiders in this game. I think the Chiefs, like you guys said, the Raiders play them well. The Raiders have a really good roster, and they, dare I say, might be well coached. And then also I think the Chiefs have just been playing with a lack of urgency recently. They almost lost to Jared Stidham and Brian Hoyer last week, and really it was seriously close. So I think the Raiders, they know they need this game. I think they're going to find a way to irk this out, and I'm going to say 24-17.
Hold the Chiefs to 17 points.
Yeah, why not? They have the roster.
Phil, that's a borderline hot take. That is
a hot take.
That is a hot take.
That's fair, but I mean the Patriots did it last week, and their personnel are not nearly as good as the Raiders' personnel on defense.
The Chiefs are almost 17-point favorites.
Really? What's the spread?
12-point favorites in that game.
I might have to get on
That's
Bovada.
Two tubs.
I might have to start acting up.
I'm weak. There you go, Jones.
Yep, I might have to. That's a really good spread.
I could see this potentially being one of the upsets of the week, but I do see the Chiefs, man, they're just so good, especially with, I think they've caught a lot of teams who have suffered from the no preseason. They are just going out there. They look the same as they did last year, and they're just obliterating teams. I think this game will be closer because it is the Raiders, but I think at the end of the day, the Chiefs are going to pull this one out. I say it's going to be 34-24. I'm cool with that. We can go ahead and move on to the next game here, and that is the Rams and the Washington football team. Philanthropists, I know the Rams have been playing pretty well.
Yes.
And the Washington football team did bench Haskins. We could even talk about that a little bit.
It's ridiculous.
It's a little bit premature. And I don't know. We'll see what happens with Kyle Allen. He did some decent things last year with the Panthers and Ron Rivera, and I know that's why Ron Rivera, of course, is wanting him to play now. But for me personally, I see the Rams still taking this one. What do you think?
Yeah, I think the Rams are taking this one too. I don't think that the football team is that good to begin with, and I think Haskins, he wasn't fantastic, but his stats were totally fine. He threw 300 yards last week, no turnovers. I don't understand how that decision was made after the game. I don't understand why Kyle Allen is the answer. I mean, he had a good start last year with the Panthers, and then he flamed out predictably, and they ended up sucking. I just don't think the roster is that good yet. So I'm going to take Rams. I'm going to take Rams by 10. Let's say 30-20. That might even be too kind to the Washington football team to give them 20, but I'll be generous.
Youngie, what about you?
I think this is going to be an ugly game. I think the Washington defense without Chase Young is awful. It's just terrible. It was terrible last week against the Ravens. I think the Rams are gonna have one of those special outings, and they're gonna put up like 52 points.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, it's gonna be one of those really, really ugly games. I think Kyle Allen will play decent, but obviously he's not going to be able to keep up. And I think he might be able to throw for 2 or 3 touchdowns. I will say I liked what I saw out of Kyle Allen when he was playing under Ron Rivera. After Ron Rivera was out of there, I did not like what I saw out of Kyle Allen. Goose is completely frozen. I also like my kind of...
He kind of looks like Mr. Incredible.
Nah, dead ass. He looks like the Mr. Clean logo when he's just sitting there with his arms crossed. But I'm never gonna wish hurt upon a player. But if Kyle Allen went down and Alex Smith got to come in,
oh my goodness,
I would be sauced. But I don't want Kyle Allen to go down. I really like Kyle Allen, but if some way Alex Smith could get in the game and take over this Washington football team and lead them to an NFC East championship, as he always finds a random fucking way of just leading his teams to win divisions, that would be my hope for this season. And then he could take comeback player of the year right out of Ben's hands and say, fuck you rapist.
I'm just going to say,
I'm a good guy.
I'm going to say right now, Alex Smith could play 0 snaps all year, and he still should get the award. 110%.
I respect that.
Just for being on the roster, just for practicing.
Yeah. And one thing I do want to touch on with the Haskins thing is there's still, it's pretty clear to me, there's still some bias towards black quarterbacks, and it needs to stop. Mm-hmm. You've seen it with Cam Newton this last offseason. As you know, he's been playing very well with the Patriots, and it's made a lot of teams look stupid for maybe not wanting to take him. Like, I would have loved to seen him in Chicago. Right. I don't know what they were thinking there. So they got to give him a chance. I know that we've seen recently this happen to someone like Josh Rosen. So maybe it's just because there's an abundance of quarterback talent. But at the same time, you do see a clear bias against black quarterbacks, and that needs to stop. I think you even slightly see it with Lamar Jackson, whereas this man just won the MVP. He's one of the best quarterbacks in the league, but yet still gets a lot of unwarranted hate. And I'm frankly sick of it. And hopefully we can get over that, and the NFL can. I don't even know what the NFL could do. It really comes down to the organizations. So I don't know. It's just really fucking stupid, and it shouldn't be happening. I wish they would give him another chance, because if you compared I think I've seen a post where it compared Allen's numbers with Haskins, and they're very similar, but Haskins was actually slightly better. And you could even argue that this Washington football team's offense is worse than the Panthers last year.
Right.
It's pretty close. You know, the Panthers offense wasn't that good, but Washington football team, they don't have Christian McCaffrey.
Yeah.
At the end of the day. So I would like to see Haskins get another shot. But to be fair, I don't know how true this is either, but I did see another article talking about that a big decision, and not only benching him, but also making him third string, is that there was a lack of hard work with him as soon as he was named the starter. Apparently, Ron Rivera did not like the fact that Alex Smith was coming to the facility before Haskins was. And in my opinion, I thought that was kind of stupid because it's Alex Smith. I feel like as a veteran, he's going to be doing something like that. You can't expect Haskins to be in there before Alex Smith, but I don't know. I guess you do want that out of your starting quarterback. You got to kind of respect it. And I think, too, Ron Rivera, he sees that the NFC East could be potentially wide open, so he's going to go with someone that he trusts a little bit more in Kyle Allen. But still, very unfortunate, and I think the NFL needs to get past that shit, and it's really pissing me off. We can go ahead and jump to the next game, and this is potentially another game of the week here, and that is the Colts and the Browns. Should be a pretty interesting game here. We got two teams that have good rosters. The Browns have one of the best rosters in the league. Just two teams, looking like they're still finding their way, especially Phillip Rivers in his new home. He's had a little bit of struggles, but also looks pretty solid at sometimes too. Philanthropist, how do you see this game going? And have you been impressed with the Browns?
Man, I think these are two teams that are probably not as good as their records would indicate. Overall, I think I'd say I'm more impressed with the Browns. I just think they have a strong foundation. They have a really, really good running game. I know Nick Chubb is out, but Kareem Hunt is more than capable of picking up that load at any given time. And I think they have a more
good.
He kicks the shit out of it, so to say. But yeah, I think when you look at two teams like this, I'm going to go with the one that has like a more defined identity and a better foundation, and that's the Browns. I think the Colts, I don't know, something about them. They've just been unimpressive to me despite their record. So I'm going to go with the Browns. I'll say 27-17.
Okay. Young E?
I know we kind of talked about the draft earlier with the quarterbacks. Colts are definitely another team that'll benefit if one of those guys slide into the late first round.
Right.
Because Phillip is not the one. And so leading into this week, Phillip's going to throw 3 or 4 picks.
Jeez.
And they're going to lose a game because of that. And what's going to be the big deal, though, is he's going to throw all them damn picks this week. Because I will say this, the Browns secondary is finally starting to get healthy. And they did look really good last week. Like I was watching the Browns a little bit last week and thinking that secondary actually looks a little bit dangerous, might I say. So I think Phillip's going to have a terrible game, but I think the Colts are doing things right, and they have a good defense and they have a good running game. So I think they're going to stick in it. I think this is going to be another ugly ass game, and I have it 16-13 Browns.
Okay. I like that.
I will say 7 total turnovers out of this game between the two teams.
Wow. I mean, look, when has Phillip Rivers done that this year? He has not thrown no 3-4 pick games yet.
No, but he literally lost them the first game against the Jags throwing 2 picks.
He did.
And this is the best secondary he's seen so far this year. So.
As you guys know, I wouldn't say necessarily high on the Browns, but they're playing maybe to the level that I saw them. They're still trying to put it together. It seems like they're finally getting Odell involved, it looks like. But like I said earlier in the show, it is with the Cowboys. Take it with a grain of salt when they put up those big numbers. But I still do like the Browns in this game. I think they'll continue to play well running the ball. Kareem Hunt's been playing very well. I think Nick Chubb's actually going to be out for this game, so Kareem Hunt's going to be big. And I would like to see Jarvis Landry maybe get a little bit more involved in the offense, but I know it's hard when you have both of those very talented receivers on your team. I still think the Browns are going to take this, though. I could see it being like 27-13. I'm just not very high on the Colts specifically. In fact, I just don't really have all that much hope in Phillip Rivers anymore. I think it's very clear he's past his prime. That arm, is looking like a noodle. And I still like him. I don't hope he has any bad games, but I still think that the team around him is not all that effective to really elevate his skills there. So I'm going to go with the Browns here. And I think the Colts are going to slowly go down and then get into that range that Young E was talking about with the draft, that they can get a quarterback in the first round. Next game is a team that I was going to mention earlier as a surprise because they've, of course, are always picked to win the Super Bowl every single fucking year.
Can we skip this game?
But as you know, I hate the Cowboys and all the hype that goes around them. So I didn't put it because I am not surprised at all at what they're doing. They're losing games the only way that the Cowboys know how to lose them. This week they are playing the Giants, and this could be one of those games, man. It could be, it's a divisional matchup. Giants could come out, could have a good couple of plays, put it together, and the Cowboys either have late turnovers, have some fucking bullshit penalties, some lack of discipline, and goddamn, that defense looks fucking awful. I don't know what Mike McCarthy is doing on the defensive side of the ball. It looks like he's focusing all of his energy on the offense, and I still don't know why Mike Nolan is a defensive coordinator. He retired in 2014, and he's back. And it actually kind of reminds me of what the Dolphins did. They brought back Chan fucking Gailey, who was out of retirement, and I haven't really liked him all that fucking much. But the Cowboys, Mike Nolan has looked worse, and I don't know why he's there. Young E, what the fuck do you see with this game?
Phil overrated Mike McCarthy before the season. Way too much. Cowboys suck like bad, and what I did see from the Giants last week, I was very impressed with Devontae Freeman. He's getting involved in the offense. He looked like he was starting to
get a load of this guy.
I'm just saying it's a lot better than Wayne Gallman or Dion Lewis, bro. Devontae Freeman actually looked like he might be a top 30 running back in the league, so that helps them out a little bit. The Giants, yeah, exactly. For the Giants, it is.
Fair enough.
The Giants really fucking suck, but I think their offense is good enough to put up some points on this really, really bad Cowboys team. And you know what? Just because it's the Cowboys, and with how this year has gone for them, I could see it being a Cowboys thing. I have the Giants sneaking this one out at 33-31.
Woo! Don't have to finish what you think.
You guys are ridiculous, dude. The Cowboys defense has been horrible. That's a known fact, but they've also played pretty decent teams. We're talking about the Giants, the New York Giants.
You're calling the Falcons a pretty decent team?
They should be. They're not, but they should be. And they also put up 30-40 a game, which is an impressive feat.
And
all right.
The Cowboys should have lost that fucking game, though.
Yes, should have. They should be 0-4 right now.
We should
be
about,
the same as 0-4 as the Giants.
We can talk about shoulda, coulda, woulda. They won. All right.
They did.
The Falcons lost.
Dan Quinn wasn't the coach.
Listen, the Cowboys are going to win this by 20 points, and it's a blessing for them. It's a blessing that they're playing the Giants right now because they needed it. But, yeah, Mike Nolan needs to go. He used to be a 49ers coach once upon a time, and he was equally horrible. Fun fact, Mike Nolan once challenged a field goal. Like the referees calling the field goal good or bad. He challenged that, and the referees didn't even know what to do, so they looked in the rule book, and they figured out you can't challenge a field goal. So that's something – no, you literally can't do that. So that's what Mike Nolan represents to me. So he needs to go. I'll say just for the sake of Cowboys fans that it's going to be, 20-40, and because they let the Giants put 20 up, maybe Jerry gets so mad at that he fires Mike Nolan the next day. Who knows? But that's my prediction. Cowboys blowout.
I still have the Cowboys winning this game. I've actually been pretty damn impressed with Dak. He's been having to play football from behind literally in every game